What's going on, guys? Travis with RAC Garage, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my new favorite tool, the Pullmax. Where it is, what it's from, what it is, how it works, what I'm going to be using it for. Stay tuned. It's a good video, a lot of information. Let's get it. So what is a Pomax? A Pomax is an electric reciprocating machine, also known as a nibbler. And these were originally made in Sweden, also made in a few different countries in Europe, and then eventually made by the Pomax company in Chicago, Illinois. This particular machine was made in England by the Alfred Herbert company. Alright, this machine runs on three-phase power, so I have a VFD on the other side that converts my single-phase 220 volts into three-phase 220 volts. The frame itself is 4 foot tall by 6 foot deep, and its widest point 18 inches. The frame is made out of 1-inch thick plate steel, so it's pretty heavy duty. That's why it can cut up to 7/32, which is almost 1/4 of an inch. And this machine weighs a little over 2,000 pounds, so it's a beast. It's not going anywhere. So this machine works with a stationary lower die and a reciprocating upper die. And the lower die has a fine adjustment on the bottom to aid in fine-tuning your dies for different thicknesses of material, and also for different die and tooling arrangements that you will have. Up here is your lever for your long stroke and your short stroke. Alright, here is the long stroke, and this is the short stroke for more finishing of the panel. This screw here is for the in and out adjustment of your entire die block. Alright, so down here is the adjustment for your lower stationary die, and without this you wouldn't really be able to fine-tune your die fitment, so this is crucial. Right, and while we're talking about the dies, they use a square shank. I personally think it's for helping with aligning if you have an odd-shaped profile or a weird die that needs to be perfectly aligned with the top die. The square-shaped shank really aids in helping aligning everything. And the different size machines, because this is kind of a mid-sized one, it's a P5. They go from, I think, the P2 to a P9, and the laters are like a P21, stuff like that. They have different size shanks, and this particular machine is a 19 millimeter shank, which is pretty close to 3/4 of an inch. Now that I told you guys what it is, how it works, the size and shape and everything, I'm going to tell you a little about what it can do. And this machine really is limited to what is in between your ears, your old brain. This machine can shrink like the dies that are in it now. It can stretch. It can form, it can shape, it can cut, it can slot, it can louver, profiles on a panel, beads in a panel. You can do almost everything you can do with sheet metal on this machine. It can't do all those things perfectly, but if you need to do something with sheet metal, I can almost guarantee a Pullmax can do it. So I've mostly seen these machines in the aerospace field, coach building field, and prototyping, but I've even seen them used putting textures in drum cymbals. So these machines are very versatile, and if you're working with sheet metal, this is probably a nice tool to have. Alright, so what am I going to be using this machine for? Pretty much everything it can do, but mainly putting beads, body lines, and reveals in these early cars. Because newer cars usually just either have a breakhead somewhere or it's just a crease. It's not really a defined body line. These cars I've sold, they got detail, and you need special equipment to accentuate those properly. So I figured I'd get a Pomax, I can make my own dies, and recreate all those body lines and reveals the way they're meant to be. all in all, I'm going to be using this machine for mainly general panel fabrication. Probably going to use it for every panel I make. I'm excited to learn how to use these shrinking dies because this will allow me to get deeper inside of a panel than I would with, say, a Lancaster style hand shrinker or something like that. You could use a stump and do that perfectly fine. There's many ways of shrinking, but I think since I have this machine, shrinking dies will help me a lot, and I can do it that way. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. It was a little about what the Pullmax is and all that stuff, but I realized this video is a little short, so I decided to add some clips I had of me, like right now, replacing the bolts with some isolator mounts, just pretty much rubber mounts with screws on either side, so I can screw the motor to the Pomax, but also have a rubber mount in between. See me right now, I'm kind of strapping the motor up because I forgot an Allen key. The connection wouldn't go back together at an angle, so just had that set up. Now I'm putting the nuts on, and we'll talk about the dies that I just got. And I got that nice VFD, so I can turn it down, turn it up in speed if I need to. So I'm glad I kind of bit the bullet and had to buy a 3-phase motor, because, you know, it just, I think it's going to make ease of using this machine better with the right things. If I need to be really ginger, I can kind of turn it down. Dies should be in Saturday. So I have shrinking dies, I got some beading dies, doming dies, lots of cool stuff. So those dies is dies I probably could have made. Some of them I couldn't. I could make them. It would just take way too long to make them. I'd have to make them at work and use work tools, and I wouldn't have time to do them. So I just bought them, and it's going to be awesome. So I'm obviously going to, from now on, I think I have almost everything I want besides a fence and maybe louver tools, louver dies. I'm not going to try and make those. But I get everything else that I think I will need on kind of a projectly basis. I'm not going to say daily basis because I don't think I'm going to use this every day. It'd be cool if I had projects that I would use that every day, but I don't think I do. I'll use it a lot. Okay, so this is a surprise. I had no idea this was coming today. I thought this was going to be here tomorrow. Maybe here tomorrow. Because there's an impending doom storm coming. A couple feet of snow. So I was like, is it really going to come? I don't think so. I'll probably see it Monday, Tuesday, because, you know, that's just usually my luck. But this came in today. A bunch of wood. No, some hardwood for practicing making profiles for the Pullmax. So he already kind of made up a little funny one here. Pop. He said, practice with this. See what you can make. You know, just mess around, have fun. That's what I'm going to do. What do we got here? Parts to a flanging die. Alright, we got a complete flanging die. Nice polished. Gonna give a nice finish. That's awesome. This, I believe, will fit all of my Planching hammer dies. Let's double check. Yep, look at that. Hammer dies will go right in here. That's cool. So this is a doming set. Nice, got some post. Step dies. These are the universal ones. I'll weld on posts here. And your material that you make the dies out of, your profiles, like this. But obviously a little thinner. Go right in here and tighten it up. So that's awesome. Last but not least, piece de resistance, shrinking dies. Alright, so now I'm pretty much tooled up. Alright, so one of the first dies I want to get going is these thumbnail dies here. Of course, I want to start shrinking some panels. So it's a die that gets bolted down to a die holder. And this one is the 3/4 shank or the 19 mil that this Pomax is. This one is here and it's 19 mil this way, but this way it's an inch. So I scribed lines all the way around it. I'm going to do it the crude way first. I'm going to take my angle grinder with a fresh flap disc and slowly grind away until I reach my scribe lines and keep testing it in the collet until it fits. With some file work, I should be able to get it pretty close and good enough for me, because I'm thinking if I just go ahead and do it this way, it's not going to hurt anything because I cannot use it like this anyway. So either I grind it down to fit or I cut it off and weld a new one on. So if I mess it up, I'll just cut it off and weld this on. But I need to take this to work to my mill because knowing the builder of these dies, I'm sure on this plate here, it's probably a receiver like this. So I would want to mill, I'd want to mill that down so it'll locate in there before I weld one of these posts on. So I can't do that yet. So I'm going to just try and, grind it off. So I've been messing around with all these dies, trying to get them operational. do as much as I can here in the garage and just figure out what I need to do at work so I can just go and get it done. This is the last of my welding rod. Poor guy. I was able to... Where's the light? Weld up these. I might have to cut this post down. I just welded the whole thing on there because why not? I can always just cut it down. And so I'm messing around here trying to get familiarized with all these dies because I've never run this machine other than the few times that it's been in the shop. Well, the few days that I've had it in the shop. So these I want to make Model A bead line. I'd like to recreate this bead just to mess around. Transfer that line. And I put a line here because that is how deep that sits. So I wanted to make sure we had some room here. I'll cut this out, then make the reverse, and hopefully these dies will be perfect. Alright, that's not cool. I cut like maybe 1/8 of an inch into there and it broke. My blade broke. I did get a caught in a piece of steel the other day and I'm surprised it hasn't broken yet. I should have gotten a new blade, but I didn't. So, poor planning. Yeah. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing my videos, clicking the bell. You guys know what to do. See you in the next one.